In July 2019, the arrest of Jeffrey Epstein sent shockwaves through global power circles, especially in the US and Europe. It looked like a criminal case initially, but turned out to be something else, or we can say it looked like a sprawling scandal involving sex trafficking, abuse of minors, immense wealth, and accusations touching upon politics, royalty, cinema, and elite academia. In this video, we'll talk about the actual revelations in the Epstein files, names appearing in them, not to forget what has not been proven, and why these disclosures continue to expose deep flaws in the American legal system, and how did so many powerful people kept orbiting a man who was later accused of serious crimes. Let's talk about the man. Who was Jeffrey Epstein? Epstein, a wealthy financier with no clearly explained source of fortune, and despite lacking formal academic credentials, he rose to some extraordinary prominence in elite circles of US. He gained extraordinary access to presidents, billionaires, academicians, royalty, and celebrities. Prosecutors allege that from the late 1990s to the mid-2000s, Epstein ran a sex trafficking operation involving underage girls, some as young as 14, recruited under the pretext of massages. Epstein was assisted by his romantic partner, Ghislaine Maxwell. In 2022, she was sentenced to 20 years in prison for sex trafficking of underage girls and conspiracy to traffic minors for illegal sexual acts. She was sometimes present in the room while minors were being sexually exploited by Epstein. His assets in the world's prominent cities like New York, Florida, New Mexico, Paris, and a private Caribbean island were allegedly at the center of these activities. It's not only the nature of crime and the modus operandi that ruled the headlines when it comes to this case, but also the elite social ecosystem in which they occurred. Many believe that it was this ecosystem that gave a kind of unsaid, unofficial, yet impossible to penetrate kind of immunity to the man behind all this. Now, let's talk about who appears in the Epstein files. The unsealed Epstein files include flight logs, address books, depositions, and sworn testimony which has reference to US presidents, members of the royal families, billionaire business leaders, high-profile entertainers, renowned scientists, and academics. But here's the most important clarification. Being named in these documents does not mean criminal guilt. Many individuals appear because they were socially associated with Epstein, traveled on his private jet, attended events, or were mentioned by witnesses, not because they were charged or accused of any misconduct in any court anywhere. The documents clearly distinguish presence and proximity from proven wrongdoing. Former US President Bill Clinton is referenced multiple times in flight logs and testimony as having traveled on Epstein's aircraft. Clinton has denied any knowledge or involvement in Epstein's crimes and says he severed ties years before Epstein's arrest. Also, no criminal allegations have been filed against him. President Donald Trump is also documented as having socialized with Epstein in the 1990s. Trump later publicly distanced himself and also stated that he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago resorts. In Trump's case also, no charges have been brought. Clearly, the files reveal access, not legal culpability. One of the most shocking revelations in the Epstein case is the 2008 non-prosecution agreement in Florida. Despite multiple victim accounts, testimonies, and federal interest, Epstein was allowed to plead guilty to minor state charges, serve just 13 months, much of it on work release, and receive immunity for himself and unnamed potential co-conspirators. And the most surprising part of this deal, victims were never informed. After that, the case was effectively frozen for more than a decade. The most serious and specific allegations involve Britain's Prince Andrew. Epstein accuser Virginia Jeffrey alleged she was trafficked to him as a minor, Prince Andrew denied the claims, but a widely criticized BBC interview intensified scrutiny. In 2022, he reached a civil settlement with Jeffrey without admitting guilt. As a result, Prince Andrew withdrew from public royal duties, marking one of the few cases where proximity to Epstein led to visible consequences, even without a criminal conviction. Jeffrey Epstein was arrested on July 6, 2019. He was charged with sex trafficking of minors, but the tragedy is that his victims never got justice. He died by suicide in his jail cell on August 10, 2019. At no point the Epstein files provide a verified client list. They do not prove criminal guilt for most named individuals, but they do reveal something more troubling: a justice system vulnerable to wealth, institutions that fail to protect victims, and accountability that collapsed when secrecy, influence, and delay took over. The Epstein files matter because they expose not just one man's crimes, but a system that allowed power to shield itself. And that question still remains unanswered. Does justice apply equally to powerful and the powerless? So far, the answers remain deeply unsettling. Despite thousands of pages of evidence, critical questions persist. Who financed Epstein's lifestyle? Why were earlier investigations curtailed? Why has no verified client list been prosecuted? Did intelligence agencies have prior knowledge or involvement? These gaps point to systemic failure, not just individual crime. For more such explainers, subscribe to the channel and stay informed.